Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemonhunters. Before we crack on, just a quick notice to let you all know that there will not be an episode of Mingles with Jingles on Monday. My friend Eddie and I will be spending the whole day on Sunday at London Film and Comic Con, so I won't have the time to do an episode of Mingles with Jingles. However, during the week I did get the opportunity to sit down with Eddie and Rita, who's back from the USA, and have a go of the board game Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core, which will be going up on Monday in lieu of Mingles with Jingles. Will it be a stand-up fight or just another bug hunt? Tune in on Monday and find out. Meanwhile, back in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, where there is only war, we have just arrived at the second of 3 potential Bloomspawn outbreaks, a mere 1 day before we have to present our progress report to the chapter Grandmaster. So if we can smack this Bloomspawn incursion down as well, he is going to be pleased. However, there is a complication. Just to prove that the God Emperor of mankind has just as much of a sense of humour as everybody else, the glorious deed for this mission is to win the mission without using any grenades. Yeah, I know, I've just remembered to equip the grenades on Purgator Thule, my grenadier, but in order to complete the glorious deed and gain the bonus requisition points on this mission, I have to not use any. Fantastic. So yeah, I'm not going to bother with this particular glorious deed, at least not today. Purgator Thule's just gotten his grenades back, I'm going to use them. So, my squad of ultimate badasses is ready. It's time to teleport down to the planet and rain down great justice and righteous fury upon the enemies of the Emperor.
The prognosticars foretell this cesspit will become a foothold for the Morbus if left unchecked.
Every last Bloomspawn will need to be hunted and destroyed to hold this foul rot at bay.
Right, nice simple mission. Seek and destroy the 2 Bloomspawn, and since I'm skipping the bonus requisition point by foregoing the glorious deed, I can use all of the grenades that I want. I move the boys up and immediately run into the first patrol. And there are a couple of surprises, like, what the hell is that? The patrol scatters, runs into cover,
They will not see me.
hunkers down, which basically means they're in extra hard cover, which is going to make it next to impossible to shoot them. And, well, first things first, let's find out what the hell this is. This is a Plague Bearer. It has 12 health. An extremely nasty melee attack. It has the ability to mutate and give itself buffs. It has 50% resistances, and the auto-resurrection ability triggers at the beginning of every turn, and it will automatically resurrect any dead enemies around it. So that's kind of nice, and I should probably deal with that first. Here's the complication though, because there are always complications. I've just spotted a seed carrier hunkered down in hard cover back there. So because it's a free action, I want to go ahead and use the extractor servo skulls to get those seeds before anything happens to them, but they're just out of range of the extractor servo skulls. So how far up can I move Purgator Thule and have him safe and still be able to do something with them? And the answer is not far enough. I can shoot from that spot, but he's in the open. And that's a grenadier. So that's bad. I should probably deal with him first as well, but I can't deal with 2 things first. I have to pick one or the other. Right. I think this is probably going to be a job. There's a plasma cell back there I could blow up, but I think it's too far away to actually hurt anybody. But I think this is probably going to be a job for Interceptor Storm. So, let's see what he can hit with his grenades first. He could hit the seed carrier up there and the plague walker next to it, but that's not really going to do too much. Let's see what he can do with his teleport strike. So, in retrospect, this was probably not the best way to go, because the teleport strike is going to outright kill the seed carrier, which means I won't get to recover the seed. And I can either also kill the plague walker next to him or end up next to the plague bearer, and I do need to kill the plague bearer, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Didn't get the action point back for Storm's teleport strike, which was unlucky, but he only has a 50% chance of that happening. Didn't use the hammer hand attack. Probably should have, because it's now left the Plague Bearer on 4 hit points, not dead, and standing right next to Interceptor Storm. I should really have gone ahead and expended the bonus willpower for at least a force strike. So now Storm really needs some more action points. So Iolanthus is going to give him Untitled Chapter, and I'm going to warp charges as well, because remember, with the armour that Iolanthus is wearing, spending willpower on him doesn't advance the warp meter. So, Storm can now kill this guy, doesn't need to spend any willpower to do it. And he has another 2 action points. So, Grenade, I can blow these guys off the ridge, and hopefully down into somewhere where they'll be a little bit easier to deal with, and at the very least won't pose an immediate threat to Interceptor Storm. And he still has 1 action point. What I probably should have done there, instead of expending a point of willpower to do a force strike and guarantee the kill on the Grenadier, was spend a point of willpower to do a hammer hand attack and get a guaranteed crit on the Seed Bearer, which would have allowed me to extract the seed as well as killing him. So, yeah. I mean, he's dead. I've killed the Plague Bearer and I've killed the Grenadier, so it's not bad, but it could have been done better. So, Storm is standing next to this Nurgle cultist. But, yeah, he's just a cultist. I mean, he's going to inflict some damage, I suppose. But if he tries to run away, Storm might get a reaction strike off and just kill him there. Either way, Storm is not in a huge amount of danger. I'm going to move Apothecary Heart up to here, which is good cover. Unfortunately, I forgot that cover works both ways. He can't shoot the cultist over there because there's hard cover in the way. And the second cultist with the 2 armor points is actually also in hard cover and can't be shot at. So instead I'll just set up Overwatch. Now then, Purgator Fool. Again, I'm trying to find a place I can actually move him to and still have an action point left to do something with. And that looks like my best option. So he'll be in half cover here. Now, can he actually hit anybody? Nope. God damn it. I can shoot that plasma cell, but that's not going to really do anything. Both of those cultists are effectively out of line of fire thanks to all of the cover in the intervening spaces. So can I actually do anything with Purgator Fool here? You can't set up Overwatch because you can't do that with a silencer heavy weapon. I go back to Justicar Iolanthus, who does still have 2 action points after spending 1 of them to honour the chapter on Interceptor Storm, but with only 2 action points, and because he started off so far back, he's not able to do anything either, which means Purgator Fool is the only one who still has an action point. He can, of course, hit either of these guys with grenades, because you don't require line of sight. And the grenade, while it does seem like a bit of a waste just to kill 1 cultist, hey, at least it's a kill, and Fool has plenty of grenades. The remaining cultist breaks cover, gets hit by Apothecary Han's Overwatch, shoots Purgator Fool, but he's a big boy, he can take it, and the cultist who was standing next to Interceptor Storm runs over here and shoots at Apothecary Han, but fails to inflict any damage. I mean, he hit him and stripped 2 points of armour off his Terminator suit, but at the beginning of the Marine turn, everybody gets their armour back. So, because I want to recover some willpower on Justicar Iolanthus, I easily kill the 1 cultist with his melee attack, and I'd like to shoot the other one, but he's dug in like a flea on a dog's back, and he doesn't actually have the ability to hit him in there. Which is a shame, because I'd love to get some more willpower back for Iolanthus. He's down to 7 out of 10, so who needs the willpower? Well, not Purgator Fool, he's at 7 of 7. I don't really want to use another grenade just to flush that guy out of cover. But where can I move him to where he can still have an action point left and actually shoot at him? That will do. Might not kill him though. Let's see how this... Nope, that is definitely not going to kill him. We're going to shoot him anyway.
Firing on target.
So who's going to clean him up and get the kill? Iolanthus can't do it. Apothecary Han? I mean, he's on full willpower, so... They're basically all on full willpower aside from the 1 person who needs the willpower, Iolanthus. So, you know, whatever. He's dead. So, I mean, that was kind of sloppy. I did fumble the opportunity to get 2 free Poxus seeds out of that encounter and instead just killed the seed bearers. But they're all dead, we're not. Now, the first Bloomspawn is on the other side of this door. It is, of course, guarded by a patrol. And the second I bash this door down, they're going to see us. So, kicking the door open with Apothecary Hahn. What do we got? Okay, Plague Marines. Not good. And that one, at least, has a heavy weapon. Oh, and as if that wasn't bad enough, reinforcements through the Warp Rift, which will arrive at the end of this turn. And there's more than one Plague Marine. These two guys both have bolt guns, setting up Overwatch, and one of them is a seed carrier. And it's the very, very nasty Bloomspawn as well, the one that does armor-piercing attacks and has a metric arse ton of health. And also is guarded by a cloud of flies, which means ranged attacks into the cloud do -1 damage. And that makes Purgator Fool really, really sad. So how are we going to deal with this? Because I know from experience that you really, really need to kill that kind of Bloomspawn as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, it's kind of well protected. Right, well, first things first, let's at least extract that Poxus seed. So who has, there it is, Purgator Fool, free action, using his extractor servo skull. We'll grab that seed before we do anything fatal to the Plague Marine who's carrying it. So, now what?
Another seed.
I'm going to need to have somebody in position to deal with those reinforcements when they arrive. Is this the guy with the Plague Spreader? No, oh no, the Bloom Branches. Ugh, yeah. Yeah, those are pretty nasty as well. They have limited range, but they do nasty damage. So Purgator Fool's grenades just don't quite have the range from here. I'm going to have to expend at least one action point to move him up. I'd like to move him into a spot where he does at least have some cover. I'm a little concerned about that giant glowing plasma thing in front of him though. Although he does have hard cover there and is able to hit at least one target with his silencer. And can of course hit more than one with his grenades. I'm going to use the disruption shot on the guy who's laying down the Overwatch. So that will cancel the Overwatch. And has also stripped off all of his armor. That frees up the rest of the squad to actually do something. Here's the dilemma with Iolanthus. I think he's the best guy I have to deal with the reinforcements coming through that rift gate, but he's going to need to use all three of his action points to put himself into a position where he can do that, and I probably also need to use his Honor the Chapter ability to carve through the defenders and get to that Bloomspawn, and I can't do both in the same turn. So I've used all three of his action points to move him up to a position where he can at least deal with anything coming through that rift. Apothecary Hahn. Move him to there and still get some shots off. You'll be able to fire twice or throw a grenade. So if I position the grenade carefully, I can hit 3 different things here and potentially blow those two guys out of their half cover and closer towards us. And that's worked pretty well. Alright. Still have one action left on Apothecary Hahn. Unfortunately, I can't actually kill anybody with that action. I mean, I can hurt that guy. But even if I buff it with a Psybolt, it ain't going to kill him. Then again, Apothecary Hahn hasn't used any of his willpower yet, so why the hell not? And we're going to get a Warp Surge this turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Reducing this Marine to 4 health, though, means that he is a guaranteed kill for a melee attack from Interceptor Storm's Force Sword. So there's another willpower point back for him, although I'm pretty sure he was up to 7 of 7 anyway. Now, with one action point left, I cannot kill the remaining Plague Marine, but using the Hammerhand attack to guarantee a crit gives me some options. The Armor Pierce is worthless because he's got no armor anyway. Inflicting an extra stun point wouldn't be enough to stun him, so instead I'm going to disable his ranged attack by hacking off the arm that's holding his bolt gun. And now it's the enemy turn. This is the guy who does area of effect affliction attacks. Fortunately, he's dumb enough to kill the guy who's on Storm just hacked off, and Storm is immune to afflictions. But then the Bloomspawn has a shot, and not only heals everything around it, but also gives it bonus armor. The Warp Rift spawns the first wave of reinforcements, 1 Plague Marine and 2 Cultists, and then with the Warp meter at 100%, we get the Warp Surge, and that's really bad news for Iolanthus. That's a miasma of frailty, and he's right on the edge of it. With it between him and the people he needs to kill. So, my turn. If I were to shoot that, that would work actually. That did armor-piercing damage to the Plague Marine. Didn't strip its armor though, so that doesn't actually immediately help us unless we can follow it up with another armor-piercing attack. Anyway, Iolanthus is now going to honor the chapter on Intercept the Storm. And he's warp charging it to give him 3 action points and some bonus willpower. But we're going to stick with Iolanthus and use his remaining action point to... the only thing he can really do is shoot at this Plague Marine, which isn't going to kill him. In fact, it didn't even reduce all of his armor. So that was kind of shit. Purgator Fool. I really do want to get my money's worth out of these grenades. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a clear line of sight. I mean, you don't need a line of sight to hit targets with grenades, but you can't throw them through objects, and that plasma generator in front of him is going to be a problem. So if I move him to there, I can use his shredder attack. Oh, I mean, it's good. It's going to strip the armor off everything, but it's not actually going to do much damage. And the shredder attack also depletes all of your ammo, so Purgator Fool is going to have to spend his first action on the next turn reloading. But even though that didn't do much damage, it does mean that follow-up attacks don't have to chew through all of the armor that those things had. Apothecary Harn. Before I unleash Intercept the Storm, I want to get as much damage done as possible with everybody else. And Apothecary Harn can hit all 3 of them. And in a situation like this, it really seems rude not to. So that was pretty good. Apothecary Harn does still also have 1 action point left. So I'm going to run up to this little bastard, because it does do armor-piercing attacks, and remove it from the equation. So aside from the reinforcements that just teleported in, that basically gives Intercept the Storm free reign at the surviving Plague Marine and the Bloomspawn. So I picked my 2 targets, both within teleport strike range. Pick the spot I want him to end up in. If I warp charge this by spending an additional willpower point, it will completely kill the Plague Marine, as well as seriously injure the Bloomspawn. He gets his action point back, because he has a 50% chance to do that every time he uses a teleport ability. And since he's down to 2 of 7 willpower, but this thing really, really needs to die, and he's the only one that can ensure it happens in this turn. So there it is done. He does recover some willpower, and there's a Poxer Seed over there that he can pick up. And you actually get a willpower point for doing that as well. And this will also put him in at least partial cover from the reinforcements that came through the warp gate. And guess what? He's not done yet. Thanks to that warp charged Honor the Chapter ability. Now, he wasn't able to kill that guy. Maybe. Oh, if only he can hit the plasma cell. Yes, we're doing that. Again, you know, it didn't kill the Marine, but it killed the cultist that was standing next to the plasma cell, and that Marine is really not having a very good day. So now it's the enemy turn. What are they going to do? So he's kicked his way through the door. Oh, he also has a Plague Spreader. That's not good. He's going to set the Hazard Spray. That is probably... Did it hit Iolanthus? It did hit Iolanthus. Okay, not good. But could have been a lot worse. This guy's probably also now going to shoot at him, but his Terminator armor easily takes the brunt of a barrage of auto gunfire. That Hazard Spray is going to be an issue, though. Thanks to picking up the Poxer Seed, killing that 1 cultist and the plasma cell explosion, Intercept the Storm's back up to 3 willpower. But the rest of the squad are kind of spread out and not really in much of a position to deal with these guys. So, oh no. Which means he's going to continue to take damage at the end of every turn for the next few turns. And I do get a bit confused here, because I immediately see, oh no, he's plagued. What can I do here? So I run Apothecary Harn up to heal him. He hasn't actually taken any health damage. And what you need for this is not a heal, but a purify. The ironic thing is that if any of the other Marines had been equipped with a Medicae Servo Skull, that would be able to purify an affliction. And you don't have to be an apothecary to carry one of those. Also, if I'd accepted the glorious deed to do this mission without equipping any grenades, I would have probably equipped Medicae servo skulls on the other Marines. Then again, if I hadn't had any grenades, I probably wouldn't have been doing as well as I am. So, swings and roundabouts. You win some, you lose some. Right, Purgator Thule, because he did use the Shredder attack on his last turn, expended all of his ammunition, so he has to reload. Now, who can he hit from here? Unfortunately, not that guy. So where can I move him to, where he's not standing in that plague cloud and he can actually shoot somebody? That will do. He could hit the cultist, but because the cultist is in such good cover, he would effectively do no damage to him. And in any case, it would take his 2 remaining action point shots to kill the Plague Marine. Hang on, that stunned him. Ooh. Here's the problem. I cannot really move Intercept the Storm up to a position where he can kill that guy with his last remaining melee action point, getting the execute, giving everybody a bonus action point, and still be safe from the remaining cultists and the Plague Cloud. Although in retrospect, if I had done that, I could have used the extra action point on Intercept the Storm, which means he wouldn't have taken any damage from that autogun attack. But if I had done that, one, Intercept the Storm doesn't really have the willpower points to spare, and that would have increased the warp meter by 5%, which means we would have had a warp surge before any of this happened. So it was minimal damage on Intercept the Storm. I do get to finish off this cultist and claw another willpower point back, as well as some bonus experience. So now we're going to get the warp surge, but not while we're in combat, which is always the best way to get warp surges. Iolanthus is still plagued, so he's going to continue to take damage every turn and will require medical attention from the Apothecary Harn. There's the warp surge. Not terrible. My knights suffer -1 maximum hit points for the remainder of this mission. So the sooner I destroy that second Bloomspawn, the better for everyone concerned. Well, obviously not for the Bloomspawn, or anybody who's guarding it. Okay, the better for me. Happy? Now, that second Bloomspawn is so far away that before we even get there, we do get another warp surge. And this time it's pretty much as bad as the first one. Not too bad, but my knights now suffer -1 maximum willpower for the remainder of the mission. So, yeah. Fortunately, we are nearly there. So we may at most get one more warp surge. There it is. And I'm not seeing... Oh wait, no, there is a contact just popped up for an enemy patrol. Okay. I want to get everybody as close as I possibly can without alerting the patrol or the Bloomspawn. Go Gadget Iolanthus, who is no longer plagued. And thanks to the tender ministrations of Apothecary Harn, both he and Intercept the Storm are more or less at full health. It's here where I run into another sort of good news, bad news situation. I mean, we're almost within sight of the final mission objective. And I'm taking care to try to keep the squad together. So I'll go ahead and I move Purgator Thule up as far as I dare without triggering contact with the final Bloomspawn. Do the same with Apothecary Harn. Iolanthus is out of action points, but he's still close to the rest of the squad. That ends the turn, and I get bounced by a random patrol when I am almost within sight of the final mission objective. But I suppose the good news is that I got bounced by the final patrol without actually being in sight of the final mission objective, because then I'd have had to fight the patrol, the final mission objective, and the patrol guarding the final mission objective at the same time. So, first things first, extract a servo skull. Get that Poxer seed from the Plague Bearer. Now, here's the important question. What do you suppose my chances are of dealing with that patrol without also aggroing the Bloomspawn? And the chances of that would appear to be about 0. Oh, and here come the reinforcements. So, patrol, Bloomspawn, patrol defending the Bloomspawn, and more reinforcements. You know what? Screw this. Gate of Infinity. Let's teleport as close to that Bloomspawn as I can. I'm going to use the first of my 2 stratagems. I haven't actually used either of them this far. And he is hoping that this mission will end as soon as I kill the Bloomspawn. So the plan, because I do still have the Quicksilver stratagem as well, which can give anybody 2 bonus action points. I'm going to hold that in reserve for the moment, however, because Justicar Iolanthus can still use his Honor the Chapter ability to give somebody 2 bonus action points. And if I warp charge it, which I can't do, power and he only has 3 left. So 2 bonus action points for Interceptor Storm. There's something over there. I don't know what it is. It requires a melee attack.
What is your will?
Well, the teleport strike ability has not failed me yet, although in retrospect it might have been better to first soften up the Bloomspawn with Purgator Fool's Shred area of effect attack, in order to strip most of that armour, or maybe all of the armour, and make things a little bit easier for this warp charge. But then again, the Bloomspawn also applies Cloud of Flies, which reduces ranged damage, so that might not have been the best thing to do. Either way, Storm lucked out again, got his action point back for the teleport, and crit, so I'm going to do bonus damage with it. And then we're just going to blow every bit of willpower he has left. No, actually we don't need to force strike it, he still has 3 attacks, and that'll be enough to shave off all of its remaining health, and then he looks out again, gets a crit, does +2 damage and kills it.
Excellent work, Commander. Withdraw your forces. Our initiates can tend to the leftover filth.
No match for the Emperor's Chosen.
And another glorious victory for the Empire's finest, even though I once again forgot to use the free actions on the Extractor Servo Skulls to clean up the last remaining Poxus seeds. But hey, any landing you can walk away from, right? I'm pretty sure that at the very least we're going to be picking up a promotion for Interceptor Storm here, but let's first check out the mission rewards. So, 2 requisition points for seeking and destroying the Bloomspawn. Didn't do the glorious deed. Requisition rewards. I mean, there's nothing particularly interesting there. They're all tier 1 rewards. Let's at least check out the grenades though. A blind grenade. Okay, yeah, smoke grenade basically. Not terrible, but oh, I don't know. It puts down a smoke screen, and all ranged attacks into or out of the smoke screen will do -4 damage. That's probably actually pretty useful. We'll take the grenade. Oh, and this Terminator armor, when upgraded, will give +2 willpower. I don't actually know how to upgrade gear yet, but that does actually sound pretty good. And I have 6 requisition points after this, so we'll go ahead and we'll take those 2. I'm not really too interested in the rest. Or, I don't know, maybe I should take this Force Sword as well. It does have a 50% parry chance if somebody attempts to hit you with a melee strike. I do still have 6 requisition points. Yeah, we'll take it. I don't care about the Storm Bolter, and I certainly don't need a rank 2 Apothecary, so that won't do. Actually, bonus +1 stun when you fire a Psy Bolt from that Storm Bolter, yeah, we're going to take that as well. Down to 4 requisition points, but we are not taking the rank 2 Apothecary. So Iolanthus is lightly injured, and Interceptor Storm does get a promotion. So, where are we going to spend these 2 ability points? Well, we're giving him more willpower, that's a complete no-brainer. So, where do we spend the last point? Well, I do quite like the support fire ability. Anytime an enemy is within range of his Storm Bolter and somebody else shoots at it, he will also shoot at them. And he's always right up front, so he's pretty much always going to be in Storm Bolter range of all of the enemies. So we'll go ahead and take that. And I realise I have been blowing requisition points like nobody's business here. I'm down to 4. But we are 1 day away from the Grandmaster's report. And I can still make it to another Bloomspawn incursion, which will admittedly happen after we submit our report to the Grandmaster. But I can at least be on the way. And while we're on the way, and before we get the Grandmaster's report, Inquisitor Waifu has been busy, and we have researched Tides of Escalation, which means that now, every time there's a warp surge, everybody gets a bonus willpower point, providing they're at a location that is covered by the ship's prognosticars. And I have 33 Poxus seeds. So I guess we're going to go for Enhanced Attunement. This will give me a bonus stratagem slot. I will then, of course, have to research additional stratagems, because I only have 2, but you've got to start somewhere. So, back to the star map. Let's get this Grandmaster's report.
Inquisitor. My Inquisitor, the strain on the astropaths makes these communications exorbitant, and I do not have time to bandy words over your lack of progress. Purge this spawn of chaos soon, or I will reassign the edict elsewhere.
Well, shit. That did not go as expected. I've actually lost a requisition point. It turns out, and I found this one out the hard way, that if you do not go for that Eldar craft world, you know, the one with the threat level extreme, immediately after researching Source of the Bloom, yeah, this thing, if you haven't handled that before the next Grandmaster's report, he will not be happy, regardless of what else you've done in the meantime. Because, let's face it, we are here to get to the root of the problem, not piss around dealing with the symptoms of the problem. Which means, like it or not, I am going to have to deal with that chaos-infested Eldar craft world. And I'm going to have to do it before the next Grandmaster's report. The good news is, at least the repairs to the hull are complete, and I can put the servitors that I collected from the previous mission to work on something useful. Warp drive upgrade, accelerated construction. I cannot help but feel that these are all the sort of things that I really should have already gotten done long prior to this point. And this may soon be coming back to bite me in the arse. I mean, as usual, there are all kinds of things that I would dearly love to be using the servitors on, but I really do feel that I am going to need a much, much faster ship very, very soon. So I've got one final Bloomspawn outbreak that is on the way, and I can deal with before I get to the craft world, which I probably should do. But one way or another, I am going to have to deal with that chaos-infested craft world before the next Grandmaster's report. And I'd be lying if I said I was looking forward to it. Although knowing what a bunch of sadists you lot are, I'm pretty sure you are all looking forward to it. And that will be coming up in the future. In the meantime, I hope you're all having a great weekend. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And as always, be pure, be vigilant. And yes, this mission does require me to win it without using grenades. I know, I saw it too. Behave.